Hey everybody, it's Jen here on Leo and Lou for a little bit more essential oils education. Today we're going to talk about floral oils, and I didn't schedule it this way, but I realized that on Tuesday we had a full moon, and the May full moon is also known as the flower moon. So we're just 2 days after that. I think it's really appropriate to be talking about flowers right now, and thanks y'all for joining me. And thanks for bearing with me as I rescheduled. Thanks for your feedback. And thanks again for being here. I've really enjoyed learning all that I have about these beautiful oils and being able to categorize them in a way that's, hey Mary, that's a way that makes sense for me as a non-scientific person. So thanks for being along for the ride with me. If you have any questions about any of these florals or any of the other oils, just let me know. Drop me a comment, send me a message. Carrier pigeon, text, whatever. I also want to remind everyone that we are talking about doTERRA essential oils because I'm a doTERRA essential oils wellness advocate. And today's May 31st, which means it's the last day for over $80 in free oils. Yep. Even if you're not a customer yet, you could get a free bottle of Wild Orange, a free bottle of On Guard, which is the immune blend, a free hand sanitizer, and what was the other free one? Oh, a free On Guard toothpaste. So if you're interested in getting a bunch of those free things into your home, let me know. Today's the last day. We'll get you started. So today we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 floral oils to talk about, and hopefully that'll be able to be quickly presented because I know your time is precious. I am going to come back hopefully next week to do the spices. When I grouped them, I thought that there were just 4 categories, but as I started looking at them, I realized there are really more. Truthfully, I could have split the trees and roots into trees and grasses in hindsight. And also some of the oils that could have fallen into any of these other categories could also be classified as spice oils. So we're going to do those next. Stay tuned if you're interested in learning about some spice oils. Okay. The first 2 that we're going to start with are kind of like cousins, and then the other oils I've just kind of left on their own. We're going to talk about first blue tansy and then Roman chamomile. Blue tansy is also known as Moroccan chamomile, so just as the name suggests, comes from Morocco, comes from Italy. So they're grown in different places, and they do have different chemical profiles, but one of the things that I noticed about these 2, as well as all of the florals, this is a kid-friendly class, but all of these floral oils are considered aphrodisiacs. So use them with caution, especially with teenagers. And they're all good for the skin. When you think about skin and needing an oil to go to, any floral oil is good for your skin. So that's a really easy connection to make florals go with skin. And also the nervous system. All of these floral oils support the nervous system. Hey Keith, good to see you on here. So blue tansy is classified as an uplifting oil, whereas Roman chamomile is a calming oil. So that's one of the differences in them. It's called blue tansy because of, you can see the edge of my bottle. One of its chemical constituents is called chemazoline, which sounds like a magic trick, and it is actually blue. Watch when I pour it in my hand. You can see how the blue. So it does actually temporarily color things, but as you can see, when you rub it into the skin, you just keep rubbing, it eventually absorbs. And I do like to use blue tansy diluted usually, or in a lotion in my skincare regimen. There was an article in Vogue magazine about how all these high-end, see the blue's now absorbed, how these high-end, what's the word, skincare companies are using blue tansy in a lot of their skincare for its amazing properties. So the chemazoline it's actually in a lot of other doTERRA products for muscle and joint pain. Blue tansy is an antibacterial oil. It's anti-inflammatory, which I think makes it good for calming any kind of skin irritations. It's cooling, and that's why it's in a lot of those deep blue muscle cool down things. It's an antihistamine, an antibacterial, and also an analgesic. And it helps with people that feel anxious. It can also help with respiratory issues, muscle pain and stiffness, and then any kind of sunburn or, again, skin inflammations because it's anti-inflammatory. Emotionally, it's the oil of inspired action. So it helps you kind of tap into like that catalytic spark and reclaim the life you dream of. That's blue tansy. And it's scent, when I first opened it, if y'all saw the video, and I just came back from convention last year, I smelled like a really like round yellow buttery scent. And now, since I've been putting it on my face, Michael said one day, "Oh, your face smells like tea." And so now that's how I think of it. I'm like, oh, it does smell like tea, like chamomile tea, which leads me to Roman chamomile. Roman chamomile, it definitely smells more sweet than the blue tansy. This actually is from the Compositae family, which is the daisy. So Roman chamomile is related to daisy in that way. You can, if you think about the flower, it's yellow and it's got tiny little white petals like a daisy. And they get the oil from the flower of the actual plant, not the stem or the stem or the leaves. And it affects the nervous system as well as the skin system. When I was looking at some of the historical issues, I thought that this was interesting, and I'm just reading from my little Cliff's Notes that I made. It's the plant, it was historically known as the plant's physician because any plant that was starting to wilt or not growing heartily, a lot of botanists and herbalists would plant chamomile next to it, and it would support that plant as its neighbor, which I thought was really cool. Mothers around the world have been using Roman chamomile or chamomile for centuries to calm their babies. It is one of the oils that's extremely mild and really good to use for kids. You don't have to dilute it because it's so mild, although I always recommend if you're going to use it on kids topically, dilute it. Mamas have used it to calm crying babies, to ease tummy aches. I can't talk today. Ease earaches, fight fevers, and also because it can be taken internally, you can use it for any kind of teething pain. Clove is another good oil for teething pain, but we'll talk about clove next time. Topically, it can also be used to treat any kind of rashes as well as insect stings, like so a bee or a hornet sting. It's really calming for that specifically. And if you have dry skin, Roman chamomile is a great oil for that. For your nervous system, it helps people that are not able to sleep. It's a great sleep aid. And it can also help with people who are dealing with emotional shock. So if you've suffered a tragedy or had some shocking news, Roman chamomile is a tremendously calming oil, and that would be a great oil to help support you. Super gentle. So the Roman chamomile can be taken internally. The blue tansy, I'm looking at the label to make sure, is not recommended for internal consumption. It's kind of touch and go with the flowers. Some of them are recommended for internal, some of them aren't. But Roman chamomile can also be kind of classified as an herb. So again, all the herbs you can take internally. I just dropped it on the floor. And I realized I have an actual chamomile flower. These came, this is what chamomile actually looks like. They're really skinny stemmed and they grow long, but that's what the actual flower looks like. I got those in a bouquet the other week. All right, so those are the two cousins. Now we're going to move on to the other oils. Geranium. This is an oil that I spilled inside of a book, and I have to say it's not my favorite scent. Although from the bottle it smells nice. It does smell kind of sweet. It's got high quantities of citronellol and geraniol, which you may recognize if you've bought any kind of mass-marketed insect repellent. Geraniol and citronellol in those ingredients are basically the synthetic derivatives of what's naturally occurring in geranium to repel insects. So bypass the toxic bull and get some geranium oil. This is a natural insect repellent. It's a clarifying oil because of those citronellol and geraniols, and it affects the immune system as well as the skin. I think this is the only one that affects the immune system. Rose does also. Historically, I thought this was really cool. Folk tales indicate that people used it to treat early cancer, what they considered cancer a long time ago. And also used it to treat bone fractures and severe wounds from battle. So I thought that was cool that geranium does all that. Back to the anti-insect repellent. When I was growing up, I feel like my mom always grew geranium, or somebody that I know always grew geranium, because it was a powerful insect repellent and it would basically keep the bugs away from the herbs and everything else that you wanted to grow. So as a plant, it's another really powerful companion plant for your garden. You can consider that. It is an antibacterial, it's an antidepressant, it has high anti-inflammatory properties, and it's also an antiseptic. So some of the things that it does, some of the symptoms that it treats because of that would be that it improves your blood flow. It can help dissolve kidney stones. I'm about to get scientific on you, and I'm going to make sure I read it properly. So it provides liver support. Specifically, it dilates the biliary ducts, which basically help the liver detox and clean out the toxins from your body. It can help with nerve pain. It helps with all skin conditions, so all skin types can benefit from using geranium oil because it balances sebum, which is the fatty secretion of your sebaceous glands, and that's what keeps your skin supple. So you don't want to have too much of that or too little, so geranium helps balance that. It can clean oily skin and brighten dull skin, and emotionally, it's the oil of love and trust. Geranium does all that. Next, alphabetically, is helichrysum. This was an oil that, when I started learning, this was not intuitive to me. I had never heard of this before. I mean, I've seen chamomile, I've seen rose, jasmine, lavender, geranium, but helichrysum is new to me. It's a restoring oil, and they actually distill the flowers to get this essential oil. You can see it's a teeny little bottle, so it must take a lot to do that. It affects the cardiovascular as well as the muscle and bone systems. And emotionally, it's the oil for pain, and that's basically and mainly how I use it. It is safe to use internally, so if you are having any pain, this would be a good oil to add to your pain balm. My pain balm, again, is frankincense, copaiba, and marjoram, sometimes lemongrass, and then helichrysum, because it supports the muscle and bone systems. It is helpful for bone bruising. It stimulates the pancreas. It helps fight off viral infections. It helps promote tissue repair. And it also helps people with anger management. I know a couple of people that I have in mind that could really benefit from using helichrysum. And just think, if you're using it for your anger management, it also does all those other wonderful things like fights off viral infections and keeps your tissue healthy. So that's another great reason to use essential oils. They do so much. Emotionally, it helps you. It's the oil for pain, so it says it helps people that are walking wounded. It helps you have gratitude for the trials that you face because, as we all know, they make us stronger. So adopt that warrior spirit when you're using your helichrysum. This is the only oil that's not really listed as having skin benefits, but it does so many other things for your heart and skin and bones. All right, next, jasmine, the king of flowers. Jasmine comes only right now in this touch roller because it is an absolute, which means it's super, super concentrated. Hey, Lauren. And it takes a lot of flowers to yield a very little amount. So what doTERRA has done is gone ahead and diluted it for us in some fractionated coconut oil. And I personally love it like this because I just put it on, I'm not a floral sweetie person, so I just put it on the back of my neck every day for all of the benefits that it provides. If you do like the super sweet scent, you can just rub it on your wrists. It's a restoring oil, and it affects the hormones and the emotional system. So y'all know me, I've talked about my emotional journey a lot with oils, and this is a wonderful oil for that. Aside from providing that kind of support, it can also help when you have pink eye, when your throat feels hoarse. You could just rub it right on your throat. It's great for people with sensitive skin and people that are having eczema flare-ups that are triggered by stress, because it works on the emotional balance side too and the actual skin. It can also help people that feel really lethargic and help you reconnect with your intuitions. Historically, concubines have been using jasmine for a long time. Ladies of the night. In India, it's known as the queen of the night because women would use it for its aphrodisiac properties. Emotionally, it's the oil of sexual purity and balance. So I found that really interesting since it's been used so racy, in such a racy way. But it can help you release sexual trauma and arouse any kind of dormant passions. So it's a good oil to help you reconnect with your partner. Oh, and jasmine is part of the Olaceae family, which means it's related to olives. I thought that was really cool. That's jasmine. Y'all still with me enjoying these flowers? Wish I had a big bouquet of all these right now. Lavender's next. Lavender, I wrote it down. What did I want to say? It is the universal oil. You can really use lavender as well as frankincense for just about anything. If you are curious about oils and only wanted to start with one or two, I would say start with lavender and frankincense because they do so much and they're so easy. Lavender is so mild. You can take it internally, use it topically. It's not photosensitive. Diffusing it is lovely. It's a restorative oil. It's a calming oil because of the linalool, and it affects your emotional and nervous systems, but it also balances your skin and helps your cardiovascular system. So it balances the body wherever the body needs balance. Simple as that. Emotionally, it's the oil of communication and calm, so it helps you express your mind, and if you're feeling stuck because you have things that need to be said and they haven't been said, lavender is a great oil for that. And of course, we know that it's wonderful to diffuse at nighttime and for anything calming. That's lavender. I call lavender the empress of oils because she does so much. Oh, this next one is my favorite floral scent, neroli. Neroli comes from the flower of the bitter orange. When we talked about citrus oils, we talked about petitgrain, and petitgrain is the rind of the bitter orange, which is my other favorite scent. So it makes sense to me. I just love these plants. You love lavender. Me too, Lauren. It's so easy to use. And this doTERRA's lavender comes from Bulgaria. It used to come from France, but it comes from Bulgaria now. And it is Lavandula angustifolia. There are two types of lavender. It is not spike lavender. It's the other one. So this is safe for pregnancy and nursing, whereas spike lavender is not recommended for pregnant women. Just a heads up. Know your lavenders. The scent of neroli, oh my God, I just love it so much. It's sweet, but it's mild because it's like floral on the back. So it doesn't hit you all of a sudden. And you can smell that kind of citrus kind of indication in there too. You can see I'm almost out. Somebody send me some more neroli. It is antibacterial. It's an antidepressant. It's anti-infectious, anti-parasitic, antiseptic, antispasmodic, antiviral. It's an astringent, a deodorant, a digestive, a sedative, and an aphrodisiac. That's neroli. It helps you have emotional strength if you're dealing with shock. This is another good oil. It treats all kind of skincare issues, people with fear and anxiety. Maybe that's why I love neroli so much. Also, women with oh, you love neroli too. I mean, I'm obsessed. I'm kind of obsessed with it. And everybody that knows me knows I don't like sweet smells. I love this one. It's a good gateway floral oil. PMS. It's a great oil for PMS support and specifically mature skin, wrinkles. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any wrinkles. That's smile maps. That's neroli. Emotionally, it's the oil of shared purpose and partnership. So it can help people that are in relationship conflicts. And if you have a troubled heart because you're in relationship conflict, neroli is a good supportive oil for that. Dun, da, 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 the queen of oils, rose. I've talked about rose so much. What else can I say? It's gorgeous. And it's really in a class of its own. Here in Portland, we're so fortunate. It's a city of roses and rain, so all the roses are blooming right now, and I love it. Again, this is another floral that I just am obsessed with. This rose really is pure. It doesn't smell fake. It doesn't smell like a grandma's bathroom. This smells like you stuck your face in a flower. The Rose oil is steam distilled from the actual flower petals. It's a two-part process, and it's really painstaking. And it takes 242,000 rose petals to make 5 milliliters, so half of this. Think about that. That is 105 pounds of roses. I would love to be there when they were doing that. I would probably have to be restrained because I would want to dive into that vat of all those rose petals. Can you imagine? Rose affects the emotional and skin systems as well. It's an aphrodisiac. It can really help if you have poison ivy or poison oak rash. It prevents scarring. It's also anti-infectious. It's a digestive and mental supporter. It can also help with headaches and nervous tension, poor circulation, liver congestion, eye infections, and it can help release chemical dependencies. When they presented it at convention, one of the things that they spoke on, I remember, was that they have been using this to help people. I can't get enough rose either, Lauren. This is my second bottle. I use it every day. I keep it next to my bed, and I usually put it behind my ears and then on my throat and down to my heart because it's the oil of love. Anyway, it's supposed to help people that have chemical dependencies release their need for those chemicals. Probably because it just encourages more love and trust in your own self and your body. It has the highest energetic vibration of any oil. So when you use it, you're raising your own vibration, which I think is really cool. And it heals the heart. So that's why I like to put it on my heart and then on my throat as well, because I want to speak from love. I think everybody could use a little support there. All right, we've got one more single oil, and it is ylang ylang, the end of the alphabet. Ylang ylang is super sweet. I have friends that love it, and it really is a beautiful oil. It's so sweet and powerful. It's actually a tropical tree, and it's steam distilled from the little flower. It's a little yellow, like 3-petaled flower. It's really pretty. It's a soothing oil, and it benefits the cardiovascular as well as the hormonal systems and the emotional systems as well. It's really helpful for skin and hair specifically. It can repair split ends and give your hair a shiny luster. So you could just add a drop of this to your shampoo. That would be really nice. And it's safe for internal use as well. It increases the libido, and it can help with high blood pressure and diabetes, and it may stimulate the adrenal glands, which helps with stress and tension. And it's a natural antioxidant, and it lifts and calms the mood. Historically, I found this interesting, ylang ylang did not smell this way. I don't know why or how, but it basically got cloned, and that's why it now has the scent that it does, and it's commonly used in a lot of perfumes in pure and synthetic form. Historically, before or after it was cloned, it can help regulate the heartbeat, relieve constipation and colic, and people used to put the actual ylang ylang flowers on newlyweds' wedding beds, I guess because of its aphrodisiac properties. Emotionally, it's the oil of the inner child. So detaching from that really kind of like sexy side of it, I found that interesting that it's considered the oil of the inner child. But it says that it's a powerful heart healer, like rose. It releases past emotional trauma, so I guess that's where that connection is, back to the inner child. It helps you release bottled up emotions. Maybe that's connected to the libido. And when you allow your heart its full range of emotions, then you can really experience more joy. And ylang ylang, and as well as all the other aphrodisiacs, are recommended for use with kids 6 and up. If you want to use those florals, with the exception of Roman chamomile and jasmine and lavender, it's definitely recommended to dilute them, just because I guess they affect the hormone systems. So those are all the singles. I wanted to make mention really quickly about this blend, which I keep on me all the time. This is the Whisper blend. I've also talked about this when I did my hormonal support class. Whisper is a blend that it's already pre-diluted. It's got bergamot and then a bunch of flowers. Ylang ylang, patchouli, which is also kind of an herb, jasmine, labdanum, sandalwood, and rose, as well as vanilla and cinnamon bark. So if you wanted a nice blend of a bunch of florals, you could try the Whisper blend. It is really sweet. I like to use it just a dab under my armpits as a little deodorant because it's an essential oil. It's completely non-toxic, and if you're worried about an odor, the odor that comes from naturally perspiring, Whisper is a great scent to put down there. It's not recommended for internal use. All of the diluted oils, they say that. I guess it's because of the fractionated coconut oil. But this will be another great little oil because it not only, you know, is non-toxic and smells nice and pretty, it also gives you all of those emotional benefits as well and helps balance the hormones. And that's a main area. A lot of glands are underneath their armpits right there, especially women next to all that breast tissue. So putting it next to, in that area is really helpful for us. Those are all my flowers today. I hope you enjoyed being in my garden, my essential oils garden. And I think I've decided that next Thursday is when I'm going to do the spice oils. So I hope you'll join me then for that. Thank y'all for being with me on my scientific oils journey and learning how to use these beautiful oils in a myriad of ways. Use caution when you're using them. Use your intuition when you're using them. If you have any questions about them, just reach out to me. I'll be with you as soon as I can. Happy oiling, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye.